Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pager, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 3. So, about 2 months or so ago, roughly, something like that, we got a report from that hashtag show on the supposed casting of a new Lex Luthor on Season 3 of Superman and Lois, and this was through some casting details, and this was sort of backed up, if not confirmed at the time, because John Cryer, who played Lex Luthor on Supergirl, said that DC had contacted him and said, look, we're going to go in a different direction with Lex Luthor on Superman and Lois, we won't be using you, and of course, it also, I think, wouldn't have worked anyway, because he was already cast on the show, so there was already conflict there, but then they'd already said that they were going to go in a different direction anyway. Now, since that point, there hasn't really been any updates on whether Lex Luthor is coming in, just because I guess it hadn't been confirmed yet, so it would have been weird if there was any updates. But it did seem, based off that casting information for the casting call for the character, that this was a role and character that was coming later into Season 3. It's not like the character was showing up in, like, I don't know, episode 2 or something, so you'd expect some sort of update by now. But anyway, by now, we actually have the official confirmation on that information from all those weeks and months ago. But of course, in the comments, let me know your various opinions on this. Do you like the casting? Do you think this could be a pretty interesting Lex and storyline for how they want to go about it? The synopsis for the character is pretty interesting, which we'll go over in a second. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down there in the comments. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, I want to show you support, looking forward to this, and just Superman and Lois Season 3 in general, why drop a like to show support and excitement. So EW got the exclusive for this, so I'll just read what they had to say quickly. EW, in brackets Entertainment Weekly, can exclusively reveal that Michael Cudlitz from The Walking Dead has been cast on the CW's Superman drama as a new version of the iconic DC comic supervillain of Lex Luthor in Season 3. Cudlitz is best known for playing Abraham on The Walking Dead. He also starred on Southland, as well as Clarice, The Kids Are Alright, and HBO's Band of Brothers miniseries. But here is the actual synopsis for the character of Lex Luthor in Superman and Lois Season 3. Cudlitz's Lex Luthor is known to the world as the visionary billionaire behind LexCorp, but secretly the criminal underworld knows who Lex truly is, a brutal psychopath who terrorizes anyone he crosses paths with. When Lex debuts this season, it's been years since he dropped out of the public eye, and he's re-emerging hell-bent on correcting a personal injustice by enacting revenge on the two people he feels have wronged him, Superman and Lois Lane. So yeah, my thoughts on that character synopsis. Sounds pretty badass. You got, him being out of the public eye for years, which would be why there is, been no run-ins for Superman since the show started. Now, there was the whole conversation of whether Lex was active within Metropolis or elsewhere, and this sort of explains that he's just been underground, if you want to call it, or incognito. Now, they do mention injustice in the synopsis, and that Lex feels there was an injustice towards him by both Superman and Lois Lane. Now, of course, the trailer for Season 3 did give some pretty injustice-y vibes, if you want to call it, from the comics and games in regards to stuff happening to Lois and just general stuff happening to Superman, but I guess a big question in regards to this Lex and Superman and Lois dynamic is, what was their last interaction? What happened between Lex and Superman and Lois to have him hell-bent on revenge between them, or, hell-bent on this revenge aimed at those two? I mean, it must be pretty big, especially if he's, well, you never know, it might not be that big, but it might be something substantial, but because he's been wallowing away and whatever it is for so long, it's just been festering, and he's just been focusing on these two. Now, by the sounds of it, I think this could be pretty damn cool and probably and potentially be the best Lex Luthor Superman conflict on screen if there is like a pure revenge story here for Lex against these two. Now, of course, I know people are going to bring up the whole Smallville stuff, but that wasn't really Superman, that was Clark Kent. And Lex Luthor hadn't really reached that Lex stage as well, even though it was Lex. So I don't know if you'd count Smallville, but outside of that, I think this potentially could be the best. Now, we already know there is going to be some personal stuff between Bruno Mannheim and Lois, in particular in the earlier parts of this season, but now with Lex Luthor thrown into the mix, this could get pretty damn crazy. Now, apparently he hasn't started filming scenes yet, that's the word coming out about this, but that also hasn't been confirmed at the same time. I mean, he may have only just started for the current episode they're filming, and maybe there are some public scenes in Metropolis or elsewhere that they're about to do that might be caught on set photos, and he might obviously look like Lex Luthor, and that might be the reason to announce this casting. I'm not too sure, but I think they were always going to announce Lex Luthor coming to the show. I don't think this is going to be a casting they were going to keep secret. I think this is a casting they were going to try and get out there and get people excited. And we are approaching like a month from the show being out, like what, 6 weeks roughly? So yeah, I think this is a casting they would have announced regardless of public filming, if that's even going to happen anyway. Now, one big question with Lex going into this season is whether Lex is the one pulling the strings for everything that's going on this season. We've been talking about this potentially being the case. I think in my most recent video from only a couple of days ago, we brought it up before this casting was even put out there, because we're just basing it once again off that, that hashtag show report about Lex coming in, and that potentially he's the one pulling the strings and Bruno Mannheim is his puppet, if you want to call it. But there is a pretty good chance, if Lex has been AFK, if you want to call it, or AWOL and just been hiding, that there is just a complete unrelation between Lex and Bruno, and Lex maybe is just emerging at the right time and is taking advantage of the position that potentially Bruno Mannheim has put Superman and Lois in at the point in this season. So maybe he's broken down maybe like the relationship or their integrity to the public and their public perception, because we know that Bruno Mannheim is going to be a very popular figure to the public in Metropolis in particular. So maybe he makes Lois Lane's career a bit dodgy by proving her wrong or making it seem like she's writing fake news, if you want to call it, and maybe even makes Superman look bad. Like I've sort of said that based off the trailer, if Superman's envisioning things, maybe he destroys part of Metropolis by accident because he's being controlled or hallucinating, and the public thinks that Superman's going a bit crazy, you know what I mean? And Bruno Mannheim can build off that and spin the narrative and everything like that, and put both Superman, in his integrity and public perception in the dumps, and then same with Lois Lane's journalistic career as well. And maybe Lex comes out at the right time, and he emerges with his most likely bald, shiny head at the right time and jumps on that and tries to bury the two, if you want to call it. Now, it is important to remember that according to the information from that hashtag show previously, that this is a role that is supposed to be up to regular in season 4 if season 4 happens. So Lex Luthor should be set up for continuing into season 4 potentially as well. So it's not like a one and done storyline for him. Like, don't go into it thinking that this season, because apparently it's meant to be set up for season 4. Like, the character is being introduced to then lead into season 4 as well. Unless maybe the showrunners know that there might not be a season 4 and they decide to wrap up that character story this season, or put some form of ending there where it could work as a goodbye or an end note, while also maybe having the door open to continue into season 4. We don't know. Maybe they don't know. It's just a wait and see. But yeah, based off this, Michael Cudlitz is definitely a interesting casting, but that's the thing with Lex. Like, you don't think of castings and stuff like that when you go into all these characters, and that's the whole point of a casting agent. They pick the right person for the job. When John Cryer was announced as Lex Luthor, I was like, really? Alan from 2.5 Men? And he was a pretty cool Lex. He did a pretty damn good job. I would have been happy with him coming over to Superman and Lois. So with Michael Cudlitz, Abraham from Walking Dead, hopefully he's cleaned his head up after what Negan did. So is that a spoiler? I don't know. Hopefully not. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to seeing his interpretation of Lex. But there is one other piece of news, one other small piece of casting news. Not that major, but still worth bringing up. And Spence Moore, not Spencer Moore, but Spence Moore, I think is the actor's name, has been cast as the son of Dr. Irons. Now, Dr. Irons is the sister of the dead John Henry Irons from the Earth we're currently on. So we had the casting for Dr. Irons come out about a month or two back, maybe around 2 months ago, something like that. So it will be interesting to see how that story and mystery around this Earth's John Henry Irons and his death and maybe conspiracies around it, how that all plays out. Of course, this is linked to Bruno Mannheim and Intergang as well. So it's not all split off where John Henry Irons' storyline has a villain, Lois Lane has a villain, Superman has a villain, Jordan has a villain. It seems like it's all going to be somewhat connected. I am very curious, like I brought up previously, whether it does connect back to that ex-Kryptonite distribution thing from last season, because I have a feeling that was the planting of the seed for involving Bruno Mannheim, because that was shut down. Jordan messed up that place, and I'm sure the person behind that, because there's money involved, wouldn't have been too happy about that. So I wonder if that's the entry point for a lot of stuff that happens this season, but while also being plant seeded through the Diggle and the John Henry Irons stuff as well, which also connects to Bruno Mannheim and Intergang as well. So that could be very, very interesting. But hopefully we do get some more prime material, which we should. I mean, you'd expect it for Superman and Lois Season 3 in the next couple of weeks as The Flash starts to premiere and start airing episodes and stuff like that. I would expect a longer trailer because the other one was fairly short. So I'd expect a trailer that goes for maybe like 45 seconds to a minute. And we might get that in like 2 weeks. We might have to wait like another 2 weeks after that. Not too sure when they're going to release it, but usually they release trailers for an upcoming season about a month before the premiere date. So that would be around the Flash Season 9 premiere or in the week following as well. So keep your eyes out for that and maybe some other posters as well. But all the information we're getting sounds pretty cool. So can't wait to see how it all plays out. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome. You could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section down below about all this stuff. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.